I'm upset that nobody's killing the BLM owners, the people that run that. Nobody killed them.
Surprised. It's just like
Nobody.
I was gonna jump into that.
Nobody killed them, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it. Like, as soon as some dude do something, it's kill him, get him up out of there. This woman finessed the entire black community out of millions of dollars for them to buy their own mansions. A group of women. Look, it's not everywhere. Why isn't it everywhere? Tory Lanez is everywhere. Tory Lanez is killed. Tory Lanez is every place you can see. Will Smith, with his situation with Chris Rock, every place you can see. Yeah. He looks weak, whether you're cheering for him or against him. She looks weak.
She don't look weak.
But where's the outrage? Why are we not? She should be getting. I need memes. I need jokes. Bro, this is out of pocket. This is disgusting. I can't believe they did this. And the same energy is not being kept for them.
We ain't nobody. 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 We ain't nobody.
Here we are once again on the big comfy couch. Episode 3.
Pause.
Already.
We're just gonna have
Already.
unnecessary pauses from my guy.
3 men on a big comfy couch. That's a pause.
I never
moment,
said 3
bro.
men,
but they could see us. So like,
I'm
gonna say it,
be
bro.
searching for the pauses. My man is the pause master.
That's crazy.
Apparently. But anyways, welcome to the 3rd episode of the Nobody Knows podcast. You already know who I is.
Do they?
No introduction.
Who are you?
Big W. Big wins.
Vaughn. Sorry.
Of course, my guy.
Spencer Bolio right here.
Absolutely. And then we have another special guest today. We're super excited to have him on.
Are you? Okay. Take it.
Super excited to have him on.
It's gonna get hostile.
As you can see, he's a whole clown.
I'm a great guy, bro. You're really hyping me up right now.
Every letter of the clown is
I appreciate
in his body.
You're hyping me up right now, bro.
I mean, you know, real ones.
They need more like this in the black community, bro.
Hey,
the black man hyping somebody else. Hyping another black man up. This is great.
Real ones know.
Appreciate
it. But yeah, so without further ado, we shall introduce yourself, man.
I'll go by Chosen,
tell
man.
Me who you are, man.
You know, I make jokes every now and then.
Yes, indeed.
We discuss some certain topics on my talk show. I got a talk show. Stream, make reaction videos, skits, anything you can do that's entertainment. I'm him.
He's him.
It is what it is.
Twitch streamer, all that.
Weirdo. Facts.
He's a
big weirdo.
He's definitely strange.
And coming from Long Beach.
He's unique. Yeah, Long Beach, California. What do you? Okay, no, we ain't doing that. Right now. But so I guess just to kind of jump into it, man. As a comedian, right? Someone who is navigating that space. So obviously the landscape of comedy has obviously changed just within probably the past 5-10 years.
Facts.
Due to just the way society is shifted.
People are sensitive.
100%. So I guess as a comedian, to kind of get it bubbling, do you have, just with some of the events too that have happened recently within comedy,
okay.
Do you have any hot takes just about comedians in general, being one yourself?
I mean, the number one thing, even back to going to, like, if you're not a comedian, you can understand is it has to be funny. Like, that's the number one thing. Like, whatever joke, however out of pocket, like, especially in the black community, we'll be like, that was funny, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro, that was a good one. Like, you got me. Everybody will be like, yo, you got me. But if you're gonna go the out of pocket route, or you're gonna play on the line of, like, too far, and it's cool, it has to be funny. That's the number one thing. Because if it's funny, everybody's like, I ain't gonna lie, bro, that was a really good joke. Hot take, there's a lot of sensitive people out there. I think Will Smith was very weak for what he did. Weak sauce. The joke wasn't that bad, especially for Will Smith, who is in the comedic realm himself, because of he coming from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he had a lot of jokes there that if people back then were upset, they came to him like that, everybody would be like, bro, what is you talking about?
Yeah, especially like the Eddie Murphys and even that whole generation, like that Chris Rock was in.
Yeah,
that was light.
So for him to come from that, it was like, maybe if it was a younger generation, you would be more accepting. I still would be like, that's kind of messed up, but you would be more understanding of them reacting like that. But for Will Smith to come from that generation, it's like.
So how do you feel about people that defended him doing that? saying he was defending the honor of his.
Well, I mean, anybody
estranged
saying he was
spouse.
anybody saying that is probably some. I ain't gonna lie to you, some like bitter woman,
You
just
think?
straight up. Because any real man knows that was a weak move. That's not how grown men handle business or handle a problem with somebody.
Because I mean, I would think too, right? Obviously, like no man is perfect, right? We do reactionary things. I would say. However, thinking about how that would, of course, affect the family, because you had a lot of people being like, "Oh well, you know, this is
But
years and years of boiled
listen,
over like frustration." Which
that was frustration with his wife. Obviously, it came from his wife. Everything
Right.
like him being like that was from his wife. Him being that upset. Everybody watching that for the most part saw that, and we were like, "He's not upset with Chris Rock. He's upset with her." Like he's been pent up because he's been, you know, the
butt of
memes
all the
been
jokes.
wild.
Yeah.
The memes they're hilarious. They're funny. The memes have been filed. He's been getting killed on social media for like a couple months to like a year, like the memes and stuff. And going back to your like reactive thing, like obviously, the thing about dudes is like the fact of the matter is like dudes can't be reactive. Most dudes that are reactive, we love them, right? They're the most the loyal, most down. We see them in movies. You see them characterized, and people talk about them. In the older generation, because of their friends from kids, but they die. They end up on T-shirts.
or they get someone killed.
Yeah, they get somebody killed, or they end up on T-shirts. You see them in movies. Like there's always a reactive, out of pocket one, and then there's the calm one, and the calm one has to always tell the reactive one, "Yo, chill out." Dudes don't have the luxury of being reactive because things go left.
Easily.
Dudes have to be proactive. You have to be like, okay, that's what happened. Okay, cool. Girls and women have the luxury of being reactive. So like people be like, "Yo, Will Smith reacted like that." Like that's not how you can't do that.
Yeah, it's like as a man, you almost any man that is, I guess, more understanding of themselves and who they are is not going to allow their emotions to dictate the decision that they make.
Yes, no. And if they do that, like I said, they ended up on a T-shirt, or if we're talking relationship wise, right? Like a female can flip out and like hit you, smack you. They can have an emotional reaction. Everybody's like, "Yo, you cheated on her, bro. Like you deserved it." And us as dudes, we're like, "That's fair. Like okay, we'll take that L."
It's fair.
But if the dude flips out because she cheated and he wild, he's going to jail and probably gonna lose his job because he flipped out, hit her, or like did some extra stuff that obviously we don't condone here. But he reacted the same way a female would react emotionally, and now he's in prison for.
We're almost like expected. There's almost like a hidden expectation for us to be emotionally mature.
Yes.
Like we're supposed to just automatically have like discipline of our emotions. It's like it's not something people will often talk about. Obviously, we, like he said, we don't get the luxury of throwing that up as a deflection or a shield when stuff actually does go left, right?
Yeah.
Like if Chris Rock would have just stole off on him and, you know,
Yeah.
we would have been like, well, serves you right, Will. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
no one would
yeah.
have
Facts.
no one would have felt for him. But it's like imagining that situation happening amongst women that are comedians. I feel like it would still be like wild, but you would excuse it somehow.
Yeah, you would, because you just wouldn't. Because like as a dude, you gotta accept the consequences more. Like it's just more harsher, obviously. And you're supposed to be. I think it's in our nature, right? Like I go back to this all the time. In my recent talk show, I talked about this. Like women are emotionally manipulated, and guys are like physically manipulated. So like I think women are more susceptible to their emotions taking them over than dudes, just off of our natures. And I'm cool with it being that way. Like a lot of people want to fight it, like just for a majority. Obviously, nothing on this planet is 100%.
Yeah.
Right. So there's gonna be some women out there that have masculine roles that can do it. And I have a godmom. That's amazing, right?
Yeah, for real. I think the double standard you're talking about is like there's plenty of accountability for men being more likely to solve things physically. If they spaz out at the wrong time, then
It's over.
It's over. Yeah, there's consequences,
It
but
could just be one time.
but
you
a
know,
woman could do what she was doing to Will Smith for
the
years,
entirety of their marriage.
and somehow Will's the one being roasted. I mean, people still
I mean, some people did
Roasted
some people
Jada,
did
but
roast Jada, but it just
somehow it
wasn't,
never came back on her in a way that mattered to her.
well because
Well,
You
she
know what I
doesn't-
mean?
Well, she doesn't care though.
yeah,
It's-
and
but
there
it's
was
like-
a lot of people excusing it too.
Yeah,
Like
there's
there's a
a-
lot of people also. There was a big wave excusing.
Was there
it
something
as
she
well.
would have cared about though? You know what I'm saying? Like if certain women in maybe the media or artistic communities
No,
reacted differently, maybe
Well,
that would bother her more.
It's
And
not
she'd be checked.
it's
You know
not
what I'm
that shit.
saying?
Well, the person that needs to check her is her husband, but
That
that's
is
that's the
true.
problem.
Definitely chose her. So
That's the
it's his responsibility.
that's the problem is
Yeah.
she chose him. Like she knew what he was like, knew the real Will Smith that we didn't know. That's why a lot of dudes like myself, Vaughn, people in the black community that like Will Smith is a high pillar for, especially for him to achieve what he achieved. For like his wife to treat him like that, we're like, yo, bro, you like allow her to do that type of stuff? Like, bro, that's crazy.
Do you think just with kind of the way that everyone's become so hypersensitive, you always see people going at it on like the Facebooks and the DMs and the posts and all that. So with everything just being so, I guess, hypersensitive now, even like movies and just entertainment in general, right? So with things being like that, do you find that there are certain like types of people that are kind of more at the forefront of that hypersensitivity, or would you say it's like more across the board? Or, and be honest,
I don't know. That look like a
Don't hide your hand.
Look like Trey trying to get me canceled.
Not at
question.
we'll I'll take some arrows.
So I'll just say, first of all, in terms of the cancelization of everything, it's coming to a breaking point. That's why people like, just keep it real. Always like tend to blow up more because everyone gets sick of the PG. Like it's gonna come to a breaking point, and that's what it is. I mean, like R.I.P. Kevin Samuels, but Kevin Samuels, he kept it real, like kept it a buck. So people were like, finally somebody's being authentic. Like finally somebody's being real. Like,
but then they tried to perpetuate it to make it seem like the majority hated him.
yeah, I mean
It's interesting how they framed it.
that's because there's
I'm not surprised, but
there's a wave out there that like, if we're gonna keep it a buck, like there's a wave out there with the, I think black women run the black culture right now, and I don't really agree with that. I don't think that's how it should be. Obviously, there's strong black women, but they shouldn't run the culture because we're the only culture where that is a thing. That's how it is, and which is, if you've seen how we've been, rocking out, it ain't really worked out the best.
I definitely do think at a high level it's the men's responsibility to gatekeep and protect the culture.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
the village, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where we're going back to like man and female roles. Like, may get canceled. Hopefully, I don't. But what the fuck was I saying?
I feel like people are minimizing
What are you
roles. I feel like people are minimizing roles to like responsibilities or like tasks. It's like if I'm a woman and I cut the grass, like I'm doing what a man should be doing. It's like no, it's just
Yes, like
just cutting
I'm
the
glad that you
grass.
said forefront. I just caught my freaking thought. Like I'm upset that nobody's killing the BLM owners, the people that run that. Nobody
I'm
killed
not
them.
surprised. It's just like
Nobody.
I was gonna jump into something.
Nobody killed them, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it. Like, as soon as some dude do something, it's kill him, get him up out of there. This woman finessed the entire black community out of millions of dollars for them to buy their own mansions. A group of women.
I literally put
And
that in a verse recently.
Nobody. Look, it's not everywhere. Yeah. Why isn't it everywhere? Tory Lanez is everywhere. Tory Lanez is killed. Tory Lanez is every place you can see. Will Smith, with his situation with Chris Rock, every place you can see. Yeah. He looks weak, whether you're cheering for him or against him. He looks weak.
But she don't look weak.
But why is she? Where's the outrage? Why are we not? She should be getting. I need memes. I need jokes. Bro, this is out of pocket. This is disgusting. I can't believe they did this. And the same energy is not being kept for them.
Well, it's not a cash cow, and it doesn't draw any type of it doesn't draw the type of outrage that
But if he was a black man, I feel like it would though. I feel like if it was black men that finessed the black community out of millions, and not just the black community, white people trying to give and help other cultures trying to help us.
Yeah, then it'd be a patriarchy.
Yeah, I feel like
patriarchy argument.
Yeah, black dudes would be.
You can't say patriarchy on this one. That's why
black dudes would be getting destroyed.
Yeah. So why do you think that is? Like,
so I can't really answer that on the air because
don't.
I think the government would come for me. Like, I ain't gonna
Kendrick said something in his album that I'm definitely gonna.
The government would come for me.
He said something about. I'm trying to remember how he framed it. I'm probably saying this incorrectly.
Say it in a dog whistle.
I mean, like, I think personally, it was a calculated plan to eliminate the black man from the family, and the white man just did a sensational job. Like that's just the reality of it. They did a sensational job taking us out the homes and getting us up out of there. They got rid of our leaders. Malcolm X died by his own people, but we know the CIA was watching him. But Martin Luther King was definitely assassinated, as we know. He was watched, and it was a calculated risk that they took for him to die. All the millions of dollars of damage that they took because it was like, okay, black people gonna riot. Okay, does the cost outweigh the benefit? And the benefit was seeing that we fumbled a large bag during 2020 when George Floyd.
And now we perpetuate our own division.
Yeah, now we just keep it up. But before that, they started a long time ago. Like I said, man, the Willie Lynch books about how to keep slaves, how to make sure light skin and dark skins got a little beef, and that you're different in the house. So it was a lot going on. They ended up overcoming that with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King being in the front four, and getting rid of them, and then eventually helping spread drugs in the communities and getting rid of Huey P. Newton and the Black Panther. It was like I said, man, it was great. I mean, you got people that go to jail. There's a lot of black fathers in prison. Like, even like I make the dad joke every now and then. I try to stay away from making a dad joke now, though. I kind of try to relax on it. I say it even a little bit, but the black father's gone. But, black dads not being there from dying, drugs, being in prison, all that, just out the home. So now there's just the woman, and the woman has to have, she's a human being. Yeah. She's gonna have some type of resentment for men. And I think, before I let Vaughn go, I think, there's daughters that didn't grow up without a father. So when they see their mom, right, their mom is single. Their mom is in a masculine role because she has to bring the food in. She has to be the protector. She has to try to teach young black men how to be, men. And she can't. But she's having to be the masculine role. And now women are like, that are daughters, they're like, whether their mom has resentment or not, they're seeing their mom act very masculine. Yeah. Right? So now they don't know how to be around a man. So now, like, you're more masculine when you talk to a black man, and you're coming out as more masculine energy, right? Yeah. And then there's other races that are more in their feminine because they know how to be in their feminine.
That's so interesting because, I mean, you look back in the 1930s or 40s, it's like statistically in the black and white community, like the rate of single parenthood was functionally the same between the white and black community. And both of them were very low compared to now. It was like 15-20% back then. And now it's like above 50%. Well, it's like 50% or above, I'm pretty sure. Someone could fact check me. Like, for everyone. And yeah, it's like it is higher in the black community statistically, but for everyone, it just has exploded. You know what I'm saying?
And I think to even add to what you're saying, Spencer, it's like a lot of it especially within the black community, is like the community got hypersexualized. And I think that made it more rap.
What do you mean?
Just in general, like you don't really see other.
You're talking about we're the most wanted black men.
No, I was gonna get there yet.
I know that's where you're leaning.
But you don't
this conversation with
you don't really see a lot of ethnicities glorifying like twerking and like stuff like this. You don't see them glorifying it. If you look at other ethnicities that do dance in a certain way or whatever, it's all like, it's actually like tied to their culture. It's not because they're trying to perpetuate like sexual, like it's
not like leading with being sexual.
Right.
There's like
it's
some
leading,
other
it's leading with their actual like
tradition involved.
With us, it's like.
But I mean, if we go back to like the dance hall in Africa, I feel like that.
But their goal of that. But that's
they
still,
wow.
But it's
different.
No, it's still
different.
different.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. What I'm ultimately saying is that like they're not. The first thought is not they're doing that because it's that. It's like that's how they dance in their culture.
Like in that culture, it's not necessarily sexual.
It's not viewed
to move
first
that way
as
it's like.
Does that make sense? Whereas like here, I'd say more Western, right?
Well, okay,
we glorify that kind of stuff.
I mean, the problem.
It's just think about it. Like when, for example, what was that song that Cardi B, WAP?
Yeah, WAP.
When that song came out, like everybody loved that song. Like they were hyping that song. You had pockets that were like, "This is terrible. It's terrible." But it was not the majority of there was a level of like, this is empowering, and it's like, okay, I guess.
Well, that's a deeper dive into the woman.
I'm just primarily saying. Let's be honest. I'm just
Nah,
primarily.
it is because I get what you're saying, but I mean the overall thing is that in this we don't really black people, because I've had this conversation with E-Man about that. A lot of Africans don't like black people actually. There's black people in it. We don't really know what our culture is. I told E-Man this, that they stripped us of it. They stripped it from us. They took it from us. Like even the food that I like I would say,
At least the Western.
I would say the black
people in
culture
the Western
is
space,
some greens, some sweet potato pie, some macaroni and cheese. That is country food from white people.
Yeah.
So, but I would say that no, that's my food. That's my culture's food. That's what we like to enjoy to eat. So our culture is a mix of taking what they gave us,
what was given to us. Yeah.
what was given to us, and then us adding our own little, you feel me, our own little jazz to it that they eventually take from us. They take a lot of stuff from us. So that's what I would say, like in terms of the twerking stuff. And people like they want to be a part of the cool gang, like.
But that's what I mean. I just mean within our culture, and this is just facts. This is not even me trying to like be that guy that's like
Your dick.
Mr. Woke. Like, it's just like, if we're being honest, it's like a lot of the stuff that we glorify.
Yeah, you listen to Kendrick's album. That's crazy.
Come on, man. I've been like this. But a lot of the things, it's just like a lot of the things that we glorify aren't actually productive. And then then we argue on the other end that like, well, men in the black community have to step up and da-da-da. And it's like,
See, I think that was a plan too. See, I'm like,
no,
bro,
no,
I'm really,
no. I feel you. But I also like, I'm not. There's like accountability all around, right? In my opinion, from my perspective, there's accountability that has to be had all around. It's just that the funny thing is that people can't even acknowledge the reality that we glorify things that just aren't productive more than we don't. And so when you have certain issues that do come up, like the single parent percentage within the black community, right? It's like there's all this tap dancing, bro. It's like, no, like that's an actual number. Like, stop tap dancing around the fact that it takes two people to, bring a child into the world, and for a relationship to be a broken one, that means there had to be one at first. So it's like, let's not like tiptoe around that. The fact that and then the fact that a lot of these single children that grow up, they hold that resentment, or they have the survivor's mentality, and because of that, they're not able to a lot of times they're not successfully handling their trauma or their situations, or having a therapeutic encounter, or someone they could talk to where they're able to move past these things. And so then when they do get into any type of relationship, obviously those things are just going to be brought to the surface. When you get in certain types of situations, those things are going to come to the surface, things you haven't dealt with, things you haven't taken the time to, introspectively dissect, and they're not going to be successful.
Well, that's the crazy thing, though, is that dysfunction like that is attractive with media. You know what I mean?
They
Like,
love that
content-wise,
stuff.
it's
Absolutely.
attractive. And, like, I think that's part of what, like, Kendrick, not to get all on the Kendrick album, but, like, when he was saying that, like, a lot of people take the trauma they've experienced and then, formulate identity around it. And then when they talk about that experience, that's interesting. Like, it's super interesting. It's not very interesting to be like, I came from a 2-parent home from the suburbs and was raised. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no,
never had work.
The good story is like nobody cares about a happy ending. Nobody like wants somebody to be like, oh, that's something. Like, that's why serial killers were so fascinating. I'm very fascinated by serial killers myself. I'm glad that you said media though, in terms of like when Vaughn says accountability. Like, I agree. Like, there's an accountability that we have to get to.
People also throw that word around a lot, though. It's
they don't
very
really do it.
loosely used, and they don't even know what it is.
They don't really do it though, because it's accepting and understanding where you at in a state of mind, and then moving forward to
Like,
see how you gonna do
you
the changes.
first, right?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
for me, like in terms of accountability, like I guess the way I see accountability for the black community, like you first have to acknowledge what happened to us. Like, that's the key thing. And the reason why, like, I like that you said media. This will sound terrible. I might get canceled.
This is why we're here.
The white
on
man
this
is
podcast.
not you, Spencer, obviously, but
No,
the white man is
immunity.
the white man is very intelligent, right? And we see this even nowadays. they understood the most important thing around the world is media and what people are going to read, what we're going to take into, what's going to be the narrative, what's the story. What's the story? So they take advantage of it. Like a lot of people be like, when people be like, a lot of Americans that are not, because the media controls everything, they be like, I don't understand why other countries don't like us.
You're blocking the light on the white man's face.
Oh, my bad.
There we go.
So they'll be like,
that's better.
my bad. But like a lot of, people outside of America that if they just listen to what the media says, they'll be confused why they're like, well, why do other countries not like us? And in the other countries, it's like, you're not getting the full story, bro. And even like as a black dude, right, when we see things like George Floyd, right? And white people see it. We as black dudes, we're like, yeah, we're not surprised. Like, that happens, bro. Like, what are you talking about? But the white people, the first thing they say, we didn't know, man. We didn't know, bro. I didn't know. Why do they say they didn't know? The media, the narrative that they paint. So if we go back to the black community, the narrative has always been for any black dude to be successful that you see on TV shows and all that was an entertainer. He had chains on. He was a rapper. He was a ball player. That's why a lot of us in the community, most of the time, like you don't have equity unless you're an entertainer, unless you're a sports dude. You're nobody. You weren't seeing like a lot of black doctors on the TV shows. You weren't seeing a lot of black business.
Only Cosby and Uncle Phil.
Yeah, very rare. You weren't seeing dudes as businessmen in ties. You would see all different types of white dudes from sports. He'd be a doctor, businessman. So from guys to women as well, you're not successful unless you're an entertainer. Yeah. So now with that image being painted into you, plugged into you from a young age to you growing up, now your whole idea is, well, he's not a successful man unless he's an entertainer. So now you're looking down on certain dudes. And
it's sad, too, because I think that a lot of that, I do think, I have to applaud, black men at a level, because I definitely think now, at least, they're kind of, it's being more pushed to the forefront of them succeeding in other areas, which I think is super cool. But then it kind of sucks too, because there's still like the aftershock where the entertainer is still the most like sought after at a level. It's like there's still a level of like intrigue and like
me, I ain't gonna lie, I'm entertaining at heart. So.
But you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, right? But it's like the guy working at the bank might be making a decent amount of money and a great living and could supply a good lifestyle. Yeah. And someone will take that, obviously, but the majority, if an entertainer of some type approached them, they would take that opportunity versus like the bank teller.
I think we can look at all of this as a downside, as in like black people being relegated into only having influence in the entertainment. It's a downside, but I think with the way media is moving nowadays, in terms of the gatekeepers going away, more and more and more, I think the camera shut off. That's okay. I'll just keep going. I think it, if things were set up to keep, let's say black people out of power, I think there is a lot of opportunity for that to be flipped on people's heads, where culture is like set by art and media and entertainment, and like culture is set by that, what people believe, like that's what kids consume. In 30 years, kids will be more influenced by the media they consumed from 1 to 25 years old than they probably even would be by what they learn in school, if you know what I'm saying. So it's like, if you actually, it's one thing if you're being owned, people are above you dictating what content you create. But with where we're moving as a society, it's like, okay, you put black people in this area, and now I feel like whoever the powers that be are like losing the reins at some level on that control. Where like there's just so many ways to have organic followings. Don't agree with that. You don't agree with that? Nah. I feel like I really want to hear why.
You can get I watch this guy named DJ Academics a lot. Yeah. Independent media, only one. And a lot of people should be supporting this man because he represents independent media, which is wild. I watch him talk about certain things that happens. You can get like blackballed off of Instagram without being officially blackballed. Or they can block
like
you
shadow
off.
ban.
Shadow ban. Your stuff doesn't pop up nowhere. You're donezo.
Yeah.
Boom. Instagram, you're done. Twitter, boom. Oh yeah, you said something kind of wild. Take him down. He's done. Boom. Your platform's done. So it's more of like it's more controlled now more than they just do it in a way to where they act like Tory Lanez. Like I watched that whole thing with Tory Lanez. Like Tory Lanez, obviously the situation, the truth is coming out
You
slowly and
shouldn't
surely.
have been in that situation.
Right. Yeah, he shouldn't have been there. You know, bad decisions in life, but his music, yeah, we're not gonna put him on playlisting. Right?
Right,
His
right.
music gonna suffer a lot more. And if you go back to even, I watched 2 people came out, Kendrick and what's my guy that did the halftime show? The Weeknd. I watched back when R. Kelly had his documentary, and everybody was like, cancel him, take his music down, and Spotify and Apple Music was like, we're gonna take it down. Yeah, let's do that. And I watched Kendrick and The Weeknd be like, no, that's not how life is gonna work. It wasn't because they were defending like R. Kelly.
What he did.
They were defending like, bro, you can't be the one to dictate like what goes up and what goes down. Because then it's like, okay, well, did he get a misdemeanor? We got to take him down. Well, he's not even guilty. Take stuff down. Take stuff.
Yeah,
down.
it kind of gives you the power to use someone's
Yeah. Now the companies like
unfortunate situation.
Spotify and Apple Music, they're like, okay, right, we can't just do it on our own. All right, so wait, you guys don't like this guy? Y'all don't like him? You guys all don't like him? All right, but we'll take him down.
Yeah, the court of
They'll
public
wait for
opinion
public opinion to be like, okay, we could take
real.
Tory Lanez down. So that's why I would say that.
I do. I hear
But
what you were saying.
Even
too,
Tory
Spence.
Lanez though, like even Tory Lanez he's more of a pioneer in this way, but you know he's developed such a sustainable community of people through like I would imagine private email lists, his own websites, literally alternative channels of media that even go outside of like an Instagram or Twitter or any of these other places, and like he's showing you can be successful outside of that, and like I imagine, let's say a Tory Lanez situation happens, 20 more times over the next 20 more years. You got 20 more Tory Lanez, and it's like,
well, I do.
They band together and they make their own network, and it's like you have at a certain point you have enough cultural clout to where like you can have your own platforms, you can build your own spaces. I feel like I have hope in that stuff.
Like that's a lot of hope. That's
like I agree. I will say this. I agree with what you're saying in terms of
at least the
direction.
sentiment.
Yeah, no, I
No,
do.
I agree with sentiment too.
Directionally, I agree with that. The issue comes into play when, if there were 20 more, let's just use your hypothetical. If there were 20 more Tory Lanez, me and Neil know that those 20 Tory Lanez would not do that.
And it takes.
There's a level of ego attached to it. There's a level of like, it's sad, but
and bad advice
pocket
given.
watching and
There's
stuff
bad
like
advice
that
given. Jealousy
would hinder
that was ingrained in us.
And it sucks because like, because of the scarcity of like the bag, right? It's like for these individuals, it's like I'm not going to risk my bag because I got my bag. So it's like Tory Lanez. It's like Tory Lanez couldn't. If Tory Lanez wanted to right now and he put together some sort of YouTube whatever, they'll watch that joint and that wouldn't last.
Yeah,
because of what they've already kind of done to his media channels. So while he can be successful outside of he can still make his money. But the money that he's going to make has to be under radar money.
Yeah, they got rid of
that makes sense.
They got rid of our.
He can never maximize it.
They got rid of our community.
Not yet.
They got rid of our community though. Like,
I mean, unless he. If there were hypothetically 20 more Tory Lanez,
it would just.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it could never ever happen in a million years. But what I am saying is that there would be a lot of there. There'd be so much ego involved.
Well, there has to be a twist because, like you said, ego. Like I said, I think they got rid of the community with us in terms of if you talk about most minorities, right? If one minority is hired at a business, most of the time they'll hire their same race. So if there's one Mexican working somewhere, they'll end up hiring a lot of Mexicans there. There's one Asian working somewhere, they'll end up hiring a lot of Asians. There's one black dude. Most of the time, he's not hiring a lot of other black dudes. He'll just be the one black dude there. So that's when, like, me and Vaughn, in terms of, like, the 20 dudes that you talk about, we like, So I would go more like there has to be somebody with so much equity to where it's like you can't just, like, they have to respect what bro's saying.
Yeah, that's why
that would have to be, like...
That's why, like, Kevin Samuels
Kanye
was so...
type of...
But that's why, like, a Kevin Samuels was so polarizing.
Kanye branched over to, like, where he got, like... white America loving him, like white kids, white people follow him heavy,
True.
right? So it would have to be like a Kanye, Kendrick, and Drake would all have to unite and be like, nah, bro, we're not doing, because now you're gonna respect them.
It has to be something like super paradigm shifting, and that's why someone like Kevin Samuels was so polarizing, because it was like, if he would have been able to just continue doing what he was doing, he could have established. He was already establishing a network of black men that were in the same space, like you know, like MTR and like O'Shea and these other guys, right? He was establishing a network. So that's why, but it takes a guy like that that has such a polarizing position within culture and within media and within not just our community, but other people outside of our community are like, listen to him and like, oh, that's all like what he said or whatever, right?
Or
I hate what he's saying.
Yourself, like.
Yeah, like there's no way to do it by yourself. But what we're ultimately saying is that, like, do you see what it took just for that to happen?
Yeah.
So you would literally need, like he was saying, you would need someone like a Kevin Samuels that has that much just polarization about him, or you have to have like a Kanye or these type of guys that have.
Oh, really interesting
crossed over.
example. Like a person that I think is a very interesting case study is like a Joe Rogan, because Rogan, yeah, he is white, but also very much against the grain of the things that YouTube will demonetize you over, the things Twitter will kick you off with.
I agree with that, but
like he's gone into a lot of territories that are specifically with the jabs and things like that, and also. I mean, if I had $1 for every time that people were trying to cancel Joe Rogan, like
Joe Rogan, like, I actually was against them trying to get Joe Rogan because, like, I ain't gonna lie, the way I see things, like, first of all, most white people are racist. Like, I just accept that. Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Most white dudes are racist, bro. So them using the N-word, it was like, and the government to me understands that, and they tried to cancel him. Obviously, they tried to get him up out of there, and when they realized, like, people were like, we kind of like Joe. He's kind of cool. It was like, boom, call him racist. We'll get the black people on him. Bro, no. No, he's independent. He wants to do his own thing. And like I said, I respect him. I think it was a fight for freedom of speech, right? Because they tried to just... Because there was a lot of... If you want to say he made some mistakes with the COVID stuff, there's a lot of government officials that said some wild stuff that was
come back and said anything.
Very inaccurate. That
very, very true.
They didn't get held accountable.
They never came back and said anything.
Yeah, so I couldn't just go cancel Joe Rogan for that, bro. Get up out of here for that, because you want to control. They want to control.
No, and he did I don't think the black community did like push back the way they wanted.
We did.
I think
we didn't, because we didn't care.
We didn't care.
But like I said, bro, like with Joe Rogan, like he's like how Joe Rogan is independent, like just about everything, like. DJ Academics is independent for like music, but I watched like he said some crucial things about some stuff that he could post, and then they're like shadow ban him, and he was like, "Oh, I can't post that type of stuff."
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I can appreciate from someone like a DJ Academics, because I will say that he does, at least from the things that I don't like actively listen to him all the time, but there's definitely certain things that he spoke about. I mean, it's very accurate, very true, and you can obviously see it playing out in entertainment, in music. Even like the relationship related stuff that he'll talk about, even the stuff that he's kind of exposed about his own interactions that backfired on him. So I can always respect that. I think overall it's like one of those situations where, especially as it just pertains to just like comedy, entertainment, music, and everything now, it's like you almost have to like decide who you want to be before you dive in, because it's like, if you're going to be the person that takes the road less traveled and is going to say the stuff that might not get you as much notoriety or could get you canceled early, if you're going to take that route, then, you know, understand what's going to come with that route and don't be bitter about the outcome. Understand what society is like. Yeah. But if you're going to be the person that I feel like there's 3 different ways to do it. But if you're going to be the person that's kind of wise about how you navigate through the hypersensitivity, it's you can either like conform to it 100% and just say everything that's super inclusive so no one ever gets their feelings hurt, or you could be in the middle space of like navigating it.
But if you want to get there, you have to get to the middle.
If you want to do what?
If you want to navigate this situation and get to where you need to get to in terms of maybe helping other people out or starting something and building a great platform, you have to conform to a little bit. Like all that, I'm gonna stick on my. You have to gain a little bit. Like even Kevin Samuels, Kevin Samuels slowed down a little bit for a reason though, because he was
I don't know. I wouldn't say he slowed down. I just think I think it's just it's being wise and understanding like the nature of people. I think he just repackaged a lot of the things that he said, how he titled them, and stuff like that.
That's what I mean. You can't. He wasn't
You just gotta
as
be
just
wise about it.
like out because it was like, yeah, bro, you can't be just doing all that if you want to get into these rooms to talk to people.
And I also think it's growth. I think it was growth for him because it was like, because you had a lot of women that were like, he doesn't care about black women or he just hates women because of how he talks to them. And it's interesting because like there's so many conversations that people never probably watched where he was actually having very normal conversations with a lot of these women, and they were still saying like ridiculous things, and he was just like very calm and collected about it or whatever. So it's just interesting, obviously, like what even in that scenario, what's going to be pushed by media. Right?
Well, it's interesting that YouTube allowed him to do what he did, and I feel like I'm starting to notice a shift with in some ways of what YouTube is what they choose to demonetize or not, and what they choose to ban as much, because I think, and maybe this is pie in the sky wishful thinking for me, but I think the like genuineness, like realness being attractive to people, like there are a lot of channels that I see growing where I think YouTube is seeing how much people are flocking to people that are just speaking their mind. And I've seen a lot more people just straight up talking about cancel culture, talking about what YouTube may or may not do to them. Like giant channels being like, oh yeah, YouTube will probably like take this down or like, you know, ban this, ban that. And like, I think YouTube's backing off the pedal, and they might be starting, there might be a shift where it's possible they're getting to a point where they see their financial value being in actually allowing more of this as like the world tries to cancel everyone. Like I really do believe that if enough good content created, okay, with cancel culture, I think we can all agree that comedy has decreased in its funniness and its creativity.
I mean, yeah, because you can't say anything or you'll get canceled. I mean, like the money
it's
makes
like because
the
of
world
that, content is now straight up better. Like all you need is for people to be scared on the cancelable platforms and make things that are not funny, and then people to see the difference between that and things that are actually funny, like the stuff that like
that's
Andrew Schultz does on like Flagrant 2, like how like he says like whatever he wants on that. Like all of them say whatever the heck they want.
But he also built equity though.
He did.
Like you have to like if you want to be if you want to be that like
equity.
quote unquote, like I think he went in. I think Joe Rogan left the space, and Andrew Schultz is one of the ones that took it over. He swooped in, but he had equity. Like he had people. Like he had.
If you want to be that edgy,
Yeah,
you
you
do have to
have
have like a level of equity, and I think too, like,
and it's
to
just
your
funny
point about
too.
YouTube. Yeah,
It's just funny.
To your point about YouTube, I think that they won't police things until they can. So, in that free space of all these issues that are going on, all these conversations that are happening, it's kind of hard to police them because you have to allow for inclusion at a level until you can actually police it in a way that would be inclusive.
And the problem
Does that make sense?
It's money.
So you can demonetize something that's very blatantly
it's too out of pocket
to the left, like way out of pocket. Like, okay, we can, but then there's going to be a lot of those things that are in this space that's almost like if you do that and someone sees it and notices it and recognizes it, then you're going to actually fire up this whole community here, which will then fire up this whole community here, which will then fire up this whole community here, which will then come at your guidelines, which would then potentially take away from your platform. So I don't think they'll police things like that until they actually can. That's just my view on it.
Like, number one thing is like money make the world go around. Like, bro, no one like you bringing in money. They're not about to be like, he's so terrible that it's time to get bro up out of here.
Right. They allowed Kevin Samuels to do what Kevin Samuels was doing.
Brings in money
because
he's black. They didn't care, bro. They don't care what we do to each other. They do not care.
But yeah, man. As much as I would love to just chat up with my boys all day, you know, we have lives and stuff. This was a dope conversation, bro. I really appreciate you sliding through.
Yeah, for real,
man. It shows on,
of course,
pulling up.
Gotta go watch some porn.
Hey, yo, if you guys are out there, I want you to fold your hands with me. You're gonna say a prayer for my man Chosen real quick.
Shout out Jurgens.
Okay. Well,
one day I'm gonna get that sponsor.
My love for you surpasses my disdain for what you talk about. Yeah, but anyways, much love to you, man. Appreciate you for coming on the Nobody Knows podcast, bro. It's been real. Appreciate
Vaughn. In Spence.
Yeah, what if, real quick, for the people, you just shout out, like, the different types of content you're making, you know, what you have going on.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, we didn't really do that
plug.
earlier, so
Oh,
make sure
wow.
we get
I
that
appreciate
in.
that. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
We got a talk show where, you know, my thing is, I feel like it's more of a discussion. Me and women, we talk about certain things like who cheats more, who do we think cheats more? Is it okay to stalk your ex via social media? We got that coming out. Do people care about signs? Do signs really matter that much? Like what's moon you were born under and your rising and all that. So we got debates and all that good stuff. And then we got some good skits, man. You know, skits that we got going on. And I do stand-up comedy, reaction videos, all that.
Shout out your YouTube itself. We'll put your handles in there. Shout out your YouTube and
YouTube,
Instagram and all that.
At Chosen Problems. Space between Chosen and Problems. Instagram at ss.movement. It's the movement starting the whole wave. And Twitch is just SS movement. No dot. No period.
Yes, indeed.
Dope.
So you already know what it is. We appreciate y'all. Nobody party. We ain't nobody.
Are you?
To be determined.